right, guys, we are back talking Chris Delp, Spring Series travel. We just encountered Spirit Airlines.
We just left LA. We just left good weather.
And we are going to go to, I believe, New York City is your next destination, location. We had a qualifier there.
Yes, New York City. The guys behind Too Old, Too Furious, Min An, who has been to Free Play Arlington right here. Great guy.
Good place to go.
Incredible streamer. Really knowledgeable about fighting games. And he got together with iFix Machines Arcade. Kind of an arcade.
In New York City. Well, let's all right. Let's do the full story. Let's start out. What airline did you fly to New York City?
Southwest Airlines.
Was that awesome?
It was quite adequate.
It was better than Spirit.
Did you leave on time? I might as well ask you
better.
too.
Okay, it left on time.
Left on time.
I was not limping off the plane. We did not check a bag. It was fine.
Right.
It was fine.
Well, I mean,
Awesome.
I guess you could have it at Southwest. They let you check 2 for free.
Yeah, Southwest is awesome.
Southwest.
They really are.
I try to travel light.
Right.
And after my New York my LA experience, I tried to travel even lighter.
Well, yeah, these were like one night stays for you.
LA was the last time I packed a joystick. I didn't.
Yeah. All right.
I just forgot it.
You fly Southwest.
Flight Southwest. Made it on time.
Which airport did they fly into? LaGuardia?
LaGuardia, yes.
Yeah. So you arrived. We didn't get you a car for this one?
No, I did not want to be driving
New York
around
City
in the
car,
winter
right.
in New York.
January, New York City driving.
Or later in Toronto. I just had no...
All right, so...
I'm from Texas. I don't drive in the ice and the snow.
We don't have the hotel name in front of us, but how was the hotel?
It was nice. Julie found me a place that was it was like not even a block away from the venue. So we're talking like across the alley away.
Julie being the legendary Free Play administrative assistant who handles everything that matters at Free Play.
She is amazing.
And
thank you for
not
everything, Julie.
A drug dealer. She always likes to point out that she does not technically.
That
she does
rumor
not,
is way overblown.
Not a true fact at all.
We have no good information one way or wait, no, it's going the wrong way all of a sudden.
Yeah, we have no leads ourselves that will end it there.
She definitely knows a cool place to stay in New York City.
Yes.
For some reason, somehow she knows that. No, I'm just kidding. No. All right, so you go to the airport, you go to the hotel. Did you go straight to the hotel or did you go straight to the venue?
I went straight to the hotel and they let me check in early, which was nice.
Nice.
Got everything put away and then I went to the venue.
Wait, did you have your own bathroom? Shared bathroom? Own bathroom.
Nice.
Look at that.
No shared bathrooms.
We didn't shove you in any hostels or anything.
No hostels.
Nice.
Alley fights, and typical New York, freaking snapping fingers going on.
It was fine. I was staying in Brooklyn. The arcade is in Brooklyn.
Nice.
And it was so close. I could just walk there.
Well, and of course, Brooklyn is famous for its fighting game arcades.
It is.
So you went, stayed at awesome hotel.
Mm-hmm. But I don't remember the name.
We don't remember the name. We can't give any props to. But
sorry.
iFix Machines.
Yes.
That is the venue for the tournament. Describe what that is. What is iFix Machines?
It is a group, I believe, of just hobbyists and players that gathered together to rent the cheapest place that they could find in New York City. It is uncomfortably close to the legendary Next Level. It's across the street. They have... It's a room about the size of... I don't know. It's an apartment size room.
Yeah, as we sit in this Texas-sized arcade here in Arlington that has more than 130 arcade games.
Wonderful.
With plenty of extra space, by the way.
Less room than between here and the second line of machines, if you can see that on the camera.
It's so...
and they had 4 head-to-head candy cab setups of different varieties. I think they were mostly Astro Cities.
Yeah, I guess that's...
No. They were new versus cities is what they were.
Okay, so yeah, we haven't talked about that. In LA, I believe they were running primarily Astro Cities.
Yes.
And that great cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Astros and Blasts are generally what you see in most situations.
Mm-hmm.
Most serious fighting game, candy cab situations. There's those two. And then there's the Versus, which is 2 back-to-back blasts that are actually formed as one cabinet.
Yeah, it's a crazy cabinet.
It's beautiful. Free Play now owns quite a few of those, and we're really excited about that. So they were playing. So they actually had versus cities at iFix.
Yeah, I believe it was new versus cities that they had. 4 of them linked together. They had them all set to Super Turbo for this event. They have other consoles as well that people play on, and scenes for various classic fighters there.
All right, so here's a question I have that has been eating away since we were talking about this place. Do they fix things there?
Yeah, they can all fix things.
Like,
we had a button go out, and the guy fixed it immediately.
Awesome.
You're talking about the name. Yeah.
Is this a cell phone repair shop or?
Oh, do they fix cell phones
like
there? I don't
a
know.
Console? What do they do there?
Probably need that for your iPhone.
Yeah, I believe they will fix your arcade machine. You can hire them for that. I'm relatively sure. I mean, I could text Chris and figure it out.
Okay. I was just wondering because that really, to me, that sounds like it's a place where you take your cell phone after you throw it against the wall and you break the screen.
Yeah.
Or you breathe on it because it's an iPhone X.
Nice.
All glass.
Why are we're just randomly making an enemy with Apple now? I thought this was the Billy Mitchell enemy hour.
Okay, Billy Mitchell.
That was our previous episode.
Bring
it
it back.
was way away, but we happen to have the same shirts on.
So we're in the same spots, same shirts. All right, so Billy Mitchell did not attend the New York City qualifier. But other people did.
Yes. Winners. Let's see. Third place was someone that no one at the venue had heard of before. I didn't know of him. Angel Medina was his name, and he went by the moniker E to the NG, and he came out of not Queens, a northern borough.
A different borough.
It was over 2 hours away by train because New York City is so ridiculously big.
So how did you get to the venue?
I would train.
Train, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Trained everywhere.
All right, cool.
Well, subway. But
I got it.
Right. So
I'm there.
So he made his way out with a friend, both of them from the Dominican Republic. They own their own cabinet at their house or apartment, and practice with each other, and managed to get good enough to get in third place without any kind of like major competition. So he made it. He won. I was very proud of him. He was dominating in casuals too. I was not surprised at the end. Like after losing to him like 10 consecutive times, I wasn't surprised to see him win a trip at that point. Second place was Technical Monkey, Chris Doyle, who is a very famous Super Turbo player, Chun-Li player. Of all my travels, he's the best Chun-Li player I saw. Sorry, Charithi, but Charithi is from Canada anyway, so best in the nation for sure.
Well, and we'll talk about a pretty decent Chun-Li player pretty soon.
Yeah. We'll find him some Chun-Li competition.
All right.
So Technical Monkey got second, and in first place was Josh Cooper, a claw player from New York City.
Does he go by anything? Do we know?
Josh C.
Right.
Myself, he competes under his actual name.
I've never heard of him. So is he old school? Is he new?
He's not. He's been on the scene for quite a while. He was not a surprise to see there. And then Rizwan, who won the Spring Series last year, had moved the week before to San Francisco.
Rizwan.
Yeah, friend of Free Play. He's helped us.
So he just missed
times.
the LA qualifier.
Yeah, he was in New York for the LA qualifier, saying goodbye.
The New York qualifier.
And then a week before, he had moved to San Francisco.
So I guess my question is, will we be seeing him at the Spring Series?
I would be shocked if we did not see him. He'll find his way out here.
And there are a few players here, particularly that entered the LA qualifier that we didn't mention, that are friends of Free Play. I mean, Killer Miller.
Yes, Killer Miller, El Trouble. I believe they got 4th and 5th in that. No, 5th and 6th because Kevmo got 4th.
Will they be making it out?
There? I don't know. I hope so. I certainly would like to visit them again.
Right,
They had planned on it the last time I spoke to them.
Great ambassadors of the game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They help run the Facebook group that is standard to all Super Turbo players. So it's good times.
So I guess those are kind of the wild cards of this. There are the people who won the qualifiers who get the air travel and they get the hotel, but there's lots of players that we hope that show up that are tops in the nation.
For sure. Yeah, Seattle has a big scene. I know some of them are coming out. Kevin Vinson, who was the highest finishing Dallas player last year, moved out to Seattle and is actually living in the basement of one Axel Foley.
Nice.
Okay.
The Seattle Super Turbo magnate. Yeah, let's see. Who got first? Oh, Josh C.
Right.
Went over that.
So after, I assume y'all did a bunch of casuals.
Yeah.
Hung around, played a little bit.
Murdered by Technical Monkey about 100 straight times. But Carlos will be happy to know that I did hit the Devil's Tap on him one time.
Kind of shocking that he got second. That's really interesting.
Claw
Right,
is top tier in that game, so good matchup.
So did you do any exploring of New York City?
I did a little bit. I went to Central Park. It was cold everywhere.
It was January. You're right.
Most of my exploring was honestly taking the subway.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to get anywhere, but it will get you everywhere. And I think my most enduring memory of my trip to New York, outside of playing Super Turbo until my eyes bled, was just the performers in the subway.
Nice.
Just roving bands of people who, there was a dancing group that they were doing pole dances. They were dancing off the ceiling of the moving train and busking for tips. Another band that played. And I thought, the locals, as is their reputation at New York, didn't make eye contact with anybody, didn't respond to anybody, including the performance. So I thought, man, this is really cold. They don't care one rip for these people. And then the moment they finished, the hat gets passed around and they're generously tipping. They clearly appreciated it, but they did not even look at them. I don't know how they did it.
All right, so New York City is actually pretty famous for its bifurcated, and bifurcated is not even the right word because there's many furkets, or whatever you would say, sections of their arcade world. I mean, pinball in New York City actually hidden away. The best pinball bar in New York City is probably a secret pinball bar that's behind a laundromat. I mean, secret in the way secret bars are now. But I don't imagine you made it there because you were in the fighting game era. You were in that, and they don't overlap at all. You'll never see something like Free Play, at least not to my knowledge, in New York City where you could really go play every single game because they have these different segmented arcade and pinball and fighting game communities.
Yeah, and it was hard to navigate to individual places, so I did not get to any other arcades. I mean, I would have loved to have, but I got to see Madison Square Garden as it went by.
All right, so
Counts or something.
You took the subway back to LaGuardia, flew that beautiful Southwest flight back to Dallas.
I did.
Shortly thereafter,
about a week, maybe two,
you went to the airport to fly. Well, I don't actually guess you had to go to the airport on this one.
Well, I was supposed to go to the airport.
So we're talking about your trip to Japan for EVO, graciously, partially sponsored by Capcom. And various other sponsors who are now involved with this, Mr. Brown, Just Water. We're getting a lot of cool names behind this. Noble Ray recently announced as a sponsor of the Spring Series. But it's something that people want to attach their name to, and that's really exciting. But you're going to Japan. The original mission, as given to you, was meet some of these Japanese players and let's book them. We'd actually booked 3 Japanese players before you left.
Right.
But just going through the process of booking them gave you a bunch of kind of pre-contacts in Japan, because you have to speak to all these guys a bunch through a language barrier to get them booked to come out. So let's start this out. Who are the 3 players that we pre-booked to come to the Spring Series from Japan?
Okay, that's Odo-chan, the Chun-Li player that I met in Boston for the Red Bull Proving Grounds tournament. He won the ST tournament there with his twin brother Aniken.
And after winning that, he proclaimed himself to be the greatest Super Turbo player of all time.
Did he claim that?
He did. Yeah, if you go in and you read,
he did. He told me that he's still getting better at age 42 or whatever he is now.
That was the interview right after he won. He was like, I'm the best. And maybe he didn't say of all time. Maybe he was just saying right then.
I haven't seen him beaten.
I mean, come on. He's amazing.
He is amazing.
All right, so he's coming to Arlington, Texas. Who's next?
Matt Soon, the 2-time defending Canada Cup champion, and also has his own decent claim to being the best Super Turbo player in the world.
Also called by numerous people the best Super Turbo player in the world right now.
Yeah, he has so many tournament wins with Ken, it's ridiculous. And he seems to invent combos on the fly. I don't know how he does it. You would swear he's playing Marvel vs. Capcom, except he's playing Ken and Super Turbo and just...
Watching, and that was... I did a little bit of video research on these guys, just as you were naming them, as you said you were talking to them. And it was shocking to watch them play.
Yeah.
It was like it's a different game.
Yes.
It was like it doesn't matter what has happened. At any time, they're going to win the round.
Right.
I mean, they could be at 0 health, win.
Yes.
They could be at full health, perfect. I mean, it didn't seem to matter. As soon as they touched the other, like, the competitor that they're playing is doing everything they can to just not get touched. And then the second they get touched, it's over.
That's true. Yeah, one combo, you're dead. And Matsun does all these elaborate, fancy combos where he'll be literally flying backwards and hit you 3 times on the way out,
Right.
and then he just flies away on his helicopter kick.
All right, so
Incredible player. He'll be a favorite. Third player.
never been to America.
Never been to America? Yeah, of course.
And also considered potentially the best Super Turbo player right now.
He will get a chance to prove it for sure. He is a Sagat player, new Sagat player.
I mean, it's so interesting watching his videos because, well, for one, they're all from Japan, so I don't understand a thing that's being said during any of them. But he is an incredible player.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of, the mission that we gave you was go get like these, go find some awesome top tier players. And the first 3 we announced, all considered by many to be the best in the world.
I can talk for a little more about Yaya too. He plays new Sagat. The old Sagat is considered the best character, or one of the top tier characters, not new Sagat.
Well, old Sagat has been considered to be. Some tournaments have considered banning him.
Right.
He's not banned in many tournaments, but that's how strong he is.
Yeah, and I most of the Japanese, well, all the Japanese players that I know of that are of a certain level just refuse to play O Sagat. They don't want to play any of the O characters, the original Super Street Fighter 2 characters that are unlockable via code.
Right.
They just want to play the new characters. So despite him being, a tier list lower than old Sagat, he plays new Sagat anyway, and he dominates with them, and I didn't touch it. Even though my preferred character of Dalsum matches up quite well against his new Sagat. Nope. I went to Japan and got served many times, and I discovered he's actually a world-class Ghouls and Ghosts player.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Ghouls and Ghosts is not made it to the floor. We have Ghosts and Goblins right now.
Mm-hmm.
We do have Ghouls and Ghosts ready to go at some point. And I guess we should probably consider doing that maybe for a Halloween game. So you fly. Well, all right. So you're going to Japan. How did that go? How did the travel from Dallas to Tokyo?
It was going swimmingly until the flight was canceled.
Nice. So it's about 4 a.m. here in Arlington, Texas. I don't think anyone would hear it. Which airline canceled your flight?
That would be Air Canada.
That was nice of them.
That was definitely the last time they would ever cancel a flight I was on.
So they knocked you back, a day?
A day. And that was, and I went with local player Sean Crane. And that was a very disappointing day we lost, because Tuesday, the day we were supposed to fly out, is when GameSpot Versus has their weekly Super Turbo competition that they put on YouTube. They put every single match, and literally the best players in the world will play there week after week after week. And we were scheduled to get our asses completely handed to us on that Tuesday. Instead, we did not get to go.
So you got to spend an extra night in Dallas.
Yeah. Although I did get to hang out with the girlfriend, so thanks, girlfriend.
Nice save. Good work. All right. So, other than being terrible and robbing you of the best experience of your life, how was Air Canada's flight?
The flights with Air Canada, all of the flights I took with Air Canada, one exception, were they got me there. They were good. They're all right.
It's a safe answer.
Yeah. There was.
All right. So you fly into Tokyo.
It was a 17-hour total trip.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah. You connected to Vancouver.
Yes. Yeah. Stayed in the Vancouver airport for a little while. Had the poutine there.
Not the best of this podcast.
Not the best poutine.
So you head to Tokyo. I guess then you got there on Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
Yes.
Evo started on Friday.
Friday, yeah.
So you had a couple days. What'd you do in Japan with your free time?
We hit every arcade, every classic arcade we could find. Every Super Turbo mainstay. We did go to GameSpot Versus on Saturday. They had a special event there. I'm unclear if it was related to our mishaps that they did an extra event on Saturday, but they had
the American players.
They had a team tournament on Saturday. We went to that one. Sean Crane won the team tournament. Incredible.
Well, I imagine with his team. Who was on his team?
His team won. Viper, the best T-Hawk player, or maybe one of the best T-Hawk players in the world. Definitely one of the best T-Hawk players in the world.
I feel like if you're in Japan, you can just safely say whoever you're fighting against is one of the best players.
Not completely, but the best of any character is definitely sitting in Japan somewhere. Viper is incredible with T-Hawk, and I know because after the tournament, I played him a good 50 times and lost every single one of those matches, and I would like to rename T-Hawk Wins Perfect, because that's all I heard. I have text messages with Nate, who also appeared on a previous podcast, talking about his Super Turbo career, and I was just like, how do I hit him? Basically, with T-Hawk, he has what's called an option select, which means he does 2 or 3 moves at the exact same time with the joystick, and then the computer selects whatever's going to work the best for you and does it. So if T-Hawk ever knocks you down and your character does not have a reversal like Dalsum, you're dead, because he's going to walk up, jab, you'll block the jab, and then you'll get thrown and then twirled by your head, spiked off the ground, jabbed and thrown again until you're dead.
So, important lessons you learned in Japan.
Right. Don't hit the ground when T-Hawk is involved at all.
So, you hit up some arcades. I mean, you were just talking about one. I guess if you can, go through it in like chronological order. What'd you hit up first?
First one.
Wasn't it Hey?
We went to, yes, we did. We went to Hey, which is the Taito arcade in Akihabara. And Akihabara is a district in Tokyo that is basically built out of an arcade game. That's all I can do to describe it. There are anime shops there, figurine shops there, strange made Hooters-esque restaurants in these tall buildings.
You've heard it here first. Japan might be a little interesting.
It is very
culturally.
It's very interesting.
No one's ever noticed that.
Akihabara is straight up it's Arcadeville, and they have many arcades there. And I'm talking like 4 around every block.
Japan famous for their multi-level arcades. How many floors does Hey have?
Hey has, I think, 4 levels. At least they were open. There was another level that was closed off.
Weird gambling level.
Probably.
That's always what it is.
The first floor was nothing but crane games.
Also, that's the other weird gambling level.
Sega UFO.
There was another arcade that was a 3-story arcade that was nothing but crane games.
Interestingly enough, at Hey, you probably don't find any Sega UFOs.
Probably not.
Given that it's a Taito. And they don't.
They had.
I bet you didn't see any Astro Cities or Blast Cities.
You are absolutely correct. They were all egrets.
Well, yeah. So I mean, egrets are amazing, and some people would argue that they're better than the Sega.
They played wonderfully,
but Taito also. Geez, now I'm blanking on the name. The Vulix is theirs.
Gotcha. Yeah, they had some Vulixes there. Actually, in the aftermath of Evo Japan, we were there. And look up who won Evo Japan real quick.
For SF5?
Yes. So in the aftermath, I never played any of the Vulixes because, hey, we're too busy playing Super Turbo. But Infiltration had just won the Street Fighter V tournament, and I'm talking minutes before, and he went straight to Hey on one of their Vulixes and started playing Street Fighter 4 since he wasn't getting played to play a game that he didn't like.
Yeah, so no one likes Street Fighter Five.
No,
We all. I mean,
yeah,
even
some
the people that are really
like,
good
but,
at it.
yeah.
Are. I mean, that's the thing.
He got paid handsomely.
Yeah, he won Evo Japan.
And then he used that money to go straight to Hey and play Street Fighter 4.
I mean, not Street Fighter 4 would not be my choice, but it's actually a Street Fighter game
It is indeed.
compared to the modern Street Fighter 5. So you
Hey,
you
so
played.
at Hey is they have 2 head-to-head setups, so all side by side, but they're head-to-head.
I've actually
4 cabinets.
I've spoken to some level of manager from Hey, and he actually talked about how they are at Hey going away from the head-to-head where you never get to see your opponents, and instead they're having 2 different cabinets. They're just putting them kind of side by side ish.
So we had like behind us 4 cabinets lined up like this. The first and the third cabinet was linked together. Those 2 were playing each other. The second and the fourth cabinet were linked together. Those 2 were playing each other. Each one of them was 10 yen, which is like a penny to play.
It's like a dime, but yes.
Right. And people were just playing.
That's very, very inexpensive.
Yes. It was by a factor of 5 the least expensive I saw in all of Japan.
Well, Hey might be the only place in the world. No, our Super Turbo probably, like, if we were to portion it between all the entries and the amount of plays, I don't know if we make 10 cents a play on our Super Turbo. Definitely not per player. But 10 cents per play, very inexpensive.
Yes, if you're going to pay cash for each game, then 10 yen, that's the way to go.
Did you get the feeling that was like to bring people in so that you went and played like the crane games? Or were they, I mean, why would they only charge 10 cents?
They've been doing it for a long time. I mean, Nate told me stories of going, they just recently got a card reader on it. It was literally get the 10 yen piece and stick it in the coin register over and over again, which meant you ended up with a truck full of 10 yen pieces at the end of the day. I don't know if it's just a lost leader and you get them in for other things. I don't know, but whatever it was, with that amount of machines and that level of price, the competition was fierce. It's like Saturday night at Free Play Richardson.
You're in line.
Like, you're in line, and it is tournament time every single match, because the cost of playing at Hey at Super Turbo is not 10 yen. It is the time it takes to get back on the machine after you have gotten your ass kicked.
All right, so coming from a free play environment where we have a ton of awesome retro arcades, but we're obviously all about our, food and drink product. Did Hey have any real food and drink?
They had the ubiquitous vending machines that are everywhere in Tokyo, which meant drinks, coffees, whatever. Sadly, no Mr. Brown. I looked.
Not a big product in Japan, no.
No, but they did have vending machines there that you could drink with. They did have smoking in the arcade, smoking at all the arcades, which is surreal, and no food. At least not that I saw.
I mean, maybe a vending
I was
machine.
distracted by all the strange anime dealings.
So Hey was awesome, owned by Taito, which it's kind of beautiful because they really take it to the extreme in not letting any other product get into their arcade. They're going to feature their cabinets, and Taito makes great stuff, but most of the other arcades, even if they're owned by a manufacturer of arcades, will mix in some other stuff, but Hey is famous for not letting other people in. Right.
Well, they had other game companies' software, I guess.
Right, but not cabinets.
But right. Egrets everywhere. They had a whole retro game section. But yeah, nothing but egrets.
Egrets at least generally have CRTs. All have CRTs unless they've been replaced. It gets kind of worse when you talk about putting some of those retro games in those Vuelixes. With those flat monitors, and it's becoming more and more prevalent.
That was the rough, like games that were made for LCD screens, like Tekken 7. They had an official arcade release, Tekken 7 there,
nice.
Which was working just fine on a Vuelix. But they also had Hyper Street Fighter Anniversary Edition there, which was vacated entirely. Like, no one would touch
Well,
it.
they had Tencent Super Turbo. Why would
Right.
you ever play Hyper?
Well, that is exactly right, because no one touched that game. The only way someone was touching that game was if they were from out of country and did not know about Super Turbo somehow. I don't know.
All right, so
It wasn't happening.
You hit up Hey. Did any of the travel players that are coming to Free Play Arlington in the spring show up at that Hey?
Yeah, Matt soon showed up to greet us. Who else?
So I have a quick
I
question.
met a guy out there. I didn't meet. Nate introduced us beforehand. His name is Mr. Bob. That's what they call him.
Nice.
And he speaks perfect English because he was born and raised in Minnesota.
Nice.
And moved out there in '93 or something like that. And has been playing Super Turbo ever since. But he speaks perfect English, so he was a great ambassador for us and helping us sort of get acclimated.
So I have a quick question. How it works? Is it if you win, you get to stay on the machine?
Yeah, winner stays, loser pays, traditional.
So does Matson just like chill in that situation? Is he just like, I'm just going to keep winning?
Yes.
This is my machine, and he just stays there for a long.
He stays as long as he wants to.
As long.
Yeah. I mean, I played him later at GameSpot Versus, and I swear at 50 yen a play, I think he invested a good 150 yen in an entire 10-hour session.
Right. He just. Well, and I guess that's a good point. Like in a world where free play doesn't really exist, you have a massive incentive to get really good at these games.
You do, but I will say this about the rank and file Japanese player. You sit down on a candy cab with a head-to-head setup, and you start playing. It's single player. There's no one there. Someone's going to come up to you before you get to stage 3 and challenge you.
Nice.
And then if you win, they will put in another whatever to continue playing. And as long as there are open like they'll have lines of them 15 deep, right? And this person will keep playing you, win or lose, until they close. I mean, I'm talking 100 straight. No problem. If they lost 100 straight, really they're going to keep going. Yeah. If they win 100 straight, they're not going to get mad at you if you want to keep playing. Nope. Let's just keep going. Keep grinding it out.
That's probably how these Japanese players, I mean,
it's absolutely how they get so good.
Besides being able to still play Super Turbo in the world, because
it's that dedication of just win or lose, I'm going to keep going, and there's no I'm angry at you for beating me in this way or that way. You beat me, congratulations. Let's go, just play again.
No,
and again. It's a great experience, actually. Something
that I thought about seeing you post photos of your travel was before Free Play Richardson put GMX on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It had probably been 10 plus years. GMX being the Japanese release of Super Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the same game, but still preferred for certain timing things, certain very minor
details.
But still...
An oak leaf glitch and some stun ratios.
Right. But they've had it this whole time. It's been available in their arcades since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to play it in Dallas-Fort Worth, you better hope you have a friend who just happens to have a cool arcade.
Or even like states around. I mean, there's a reason that Nate is coming to. He's in town again from Kansas.
Yeah, he drives from Kansas regularly to play Super Turbo.
Yeah, and he is currently in town, sleeping in my bed because I am filming this stupid podcast at 4 a.m.
Hey,
I hope you enjoy it, Nate.
We're at 4:15 now.
My bad.
I'm at hour 23 of my workday.
Nice.
Light day, easy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hey,
Basic.
You did that.
Also went to Sega Arcade, which is in Akihabara as well. They did not have Super Turbo there. I just walked in there because it was a 7-story arcade, and I really wanted to see what that was all about.
With 6 stories of UFO crane.
No. The first 2 stories were. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
UFO crane.
Well, I mean, that might be one of the most lucrative. And I had an opportunity to buy some recently, and I have no good place to put them, but I was kind of like, I want them just because they're cool-looking crane games.
Well,
although I'm more of an American style clean sweep crane game, anyways. But
I've seen your skills.
Anyways,
yeah.
So Sega, you went to Sega Arcade, you went to Hey. Those are those are the 2 big operators. Tough break without having a Super Turbo at the Sega Arcade.
Yeah, it meant I didn't play any games there. I just sort of perused, and then I was like, wow, that's a whole floor of train simulators. Well, see you later.
All right.
I think
But being in Japan, right? That's the beautiful thing. You went to 2 arcades, and then you were like, which of the 1,000 other arcades am I going to go to?
Right.
In Tokyo.
Yeah, we went to Ramble Plaza, which was in Ikeburu, which is where we stayed. That was the district we stayed in.
Wait, we haven't talked about this. All right, so you get to Japan. How'd you get around?
Oh, subway. Same as New York, except way quicker.
I feel like we should have insisted on renting a car for Tokyo. I feel like that would have been a lot more fun. All right, so you get to Tokyo. You go by train. How was your hotel room in Tokyo?
Oh, quite small. And we had head-to-head beds.
Nice.
All right, so I want the viewers at home to picture this. The beds were set up in a way. Now, this is like a real commercial hotel room. This isn't like a joke.
It's a nice hotel,
And this,
too.
yeah, this is a pretty nice hotel. And their beds are faced so that they both have their pillows like this,
Yeah.
vertically, so that when you're sleeping at night, your heads are, a foot away from each other
Yeah.
or so. I mean, I got that room for you because I thought, man, y'all are going to have some serious, awesome conversations while you fall asleep. Did y'all ever get to, like, talk shop while you had the lights? It felt like camp to me almost, which might actually be kind of like a Japanese person might take that the wrong way, but like it was so cool. It seemed so Japanese to have a room where they were like, we have space for 2 twin beds, let's put them head to head. Which
I love the novelty of it. I did.
So
The room was very small. We didn't spend much time in it because we had more arcades to go to.
right.
So it was pretty much go there.
It was an
turn
acceptable place to
turn
sleep.
the light off or not.
Right.
You put a blindfold on, fall asleep.
Which one of you was a snorer?
In Boston, it was me. I don't know if it was me in Japan. You'd have to ask Sean.
They don't actually remember sleeping.
This is,
they were that tired,
He's
they
just
couldn't tell.
He's just being nice. They never actually went to the hotel room. This is all made up. They just played in the arcades
He probably
straight.
slept on the subway.
This is how you deal with potential snoring
There
in
you go.
Japan. You get yourself some noise-canceling headphones, and you wear them, and then you're good to go.
All right, so you hit up a bunch of arcades. You had what sounds like the greatest hotel room in the entire world.
Indeed, it was.
I'm jealous.
Thank you, Sunshine City.
And was your hotel, that was right where Evo was, really close.
In the same building.
Nice.
That was convenient, and Segway says nice too. How was Evo in Japan? This is their first ever Japanese event.
Fantastically attended. Needed more Super Turbo. They had a lot of games there.
Super Turbo was like just some side thing they had going. I mean,
No, they didn't even have a side game there.
they didn't even have a machine.
No Super Turbo there. They had other classic fighters. They certainly had the cabinets. I think I'm guessing Matsun just didn't feel like doing it. So why are we going to do Super Turbo without him?
Yeah.
That was another thing about Evo Japan that I thought was weird is some of the best players there that I played at all the games. I played some Tekken 7 players that were amazing and better than the players that I saw at Evo Japan in Japan, and they did not go to Evo. I don't know why. I asked them, and he was just like, I didn't want to.
Yeah, in a world where you have great competition almost anytime you want, maybe that's just it. It makes sense that you wouldn't go.
I don't know.
Plus,
Well, there was no smoking at the venue. That might have been it too.
I gotta light
All right,
up
so
while I beat your ass.
in terms of like American events, I'm always interested.
I have not been to Evo Vegas yet, so I can't compare it directly to that. That would be the most natural one, but it was packed. It was a fighting game tournament for sure. American organizers too.
Right. So was it like a convention of sorts where you have different sponsors, booths and stuff?
Yeah, there was a vending area. They had the Daigo manga out there. Did
Daigo go to?
Yes, yeah. Daigo got, I believe, third
in SF5.
in 5, yeah. Playing Guile, and then got wrecked by Infiltration. That was a rough one.
Famous from earlier in the podcast playing Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, he was the ultimate winner. Yeah, he actually came out of the losers bracket and won against, I don't remember who. All I remember about the guy who got second was he won the winners bracket, and he was wearing an American flag jacket. So I was rooting for him. He's a Japanese national wearing an American flag jacket, and Infiltration a Korean player. So came to the first Evo Japan and took it to the home team.
So
Awesome.
in terms, so we've already talked, kind of mentioned you're exploring Tokyo and you see these like, you know, the weird Hooters with girls dressed up like. Did they do booth babes at Evo?
Absolutely, yeah. They had cosplayers there, and that was the least amount. Everybody was very like prim and proper, not really into having their pictures taken. Like it's very faux pas to pull out the video camera or even your cell phone camera to take pictures. Lots of people wearing masks to prevent spreading communicable diseases when you're on a cramped subway. But also there's a lot of shyness. Like I talked to I met one woman out there whom, you know, we talked back and forth quite a bit, and she always wore a mask and you know, she just didn't want to see her face shown. So a lot of shyness, and then you go to the booth and here's a cosplayer wearing, you know, a G-string because the character she's cosplaying is wearing a G-string. And it's like, okay,
so
this is distracting.
We've kind of seen a demographic shift of sorts. I mean, it's still here at Free Play, our fighting games are still obviously male dominated. Did you see any competitors at Evo Japan that were female?
Not one. I did not see one.
Wow. That was not the answer I was expecting.
Well, I didn't know what to expect. All right, so
I wish I could say I did. I did not. I did not see one.
Evo Japan happened. You entered a Tekken tournament.
I did.
I
entered a Tekken. I mean, because I used to travel to play Tekken Tag. I traveled all over the country playing the Tekken Tag 1 back in the day, and Tekken 4, embarrassingly. Embarrassing because it's Tekken 4.
Nice.
Forgive me. Still got a bit of SARS from Toronto. Forgive me.
All right, so while Chris is off camera,
He's off dying
doing what he's doing, we'll take a quick break to thank Just Water and Mr. Brown for sponsoring a lot of what we're doing right now.
Keeping Chris awake and myself included.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna invest in some of that Just Water right now.
Right. Yeah. Will hopefully help. All right. So you're in Evo. Not listening to me because you're drinking a bunch of water and you took your headphones off for some reason. How'd you do in your Tekken tournament?
Okay, considering I never played Tekken 7 before, fantastic.
Did you use a controller or like a...
I borrowed the stick. Like, I didn't bring a stick because I took it to LA, never used it, wasn't there to compete in anything. I played Tekken 7 on a lark. Sean played ARMS on a lark. He got bounced in the first round. I never played it before. And then in Tekken 7, I got third in my pools.
Nice.
Top two advance. Somehow I'm third. And I actually took a round off the guy who won with my Kuma.
Yes.
And my strategy with Kuma was just to play it straight up as if it were Tekken Tag.
Right.
And not only that, like I wasn't doing the Tekken Tag bound juggle system. I wasn't infiniting people off the walls or anything. All I was doing was trying to do the rolling circus command grab and then follow that up with the dance taunt, which I did several times to great effect and defeating people. And I was none more shocked than myself. I could not believe that I was at Evo Japan winning.
All right, so
at a game I don't play. Good times. Didn't go the same way in Street Fighter V.
So you almost made it out of your pool.
I did. Two matches to win the pool.
I mean, I assume you watched what was going on at Evo. I did. You got the Evo experience, and
competed in Street Fighter V and Tekken 7.
And then, were you there for the final match? Did you watch it on the big screen?
I did not, because we could not. Those tickets went like that.
There were tickets for that event.
Yes, it was a ticketed event for the finals.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So we were there Friday and Saturday for all the pools, but then Sunday we couldn't be there. So we were at Hay, with Infiltration later.
Hay playing Tencent Super Turbo, which
Give me just a second. I'm going to go
incredible.
Cough really loudly. I'll be right back.
We're going to lose Chris. This is going off the rails, given that Chris is the only one who knows what happened in Tokyo. So he's coming back. We're getting back into this.
Please don't die, Chris.
Did Evo? So, I mean, Evo was playing things like Guilty Gear, Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7.
Yeah, they were premiering. I'm very proud of Cross Tag Battle. Is it Guilty Gear?
Is that
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know. I didn't play it.
That was. I mean, it was all modern games, pretty much.
Yeah.
So after Evo, Guy goes plays Street Fighter 4 because everyone hates Street Fighter 5.
Right.
Has been established in this podcast. Y'all went to Hay again.
Oh, and we did watch the final. We watched it on the train on our phones because we couldn't get into the building that we were actually staying in our hotel. So.
Nice.
That's amazing.
So while you went, and then you were in Tokyo, right? You got to hang out for a few more days.
Yeah.
See the sights. Buy some game boards.
We did. We got many. I got all the good deals I could find for free play. All of them.
Well, that was... I mean, it's kind of interesting to think. Like,
I made some good contacts out there. I was quite happy.
A world where there's a place you can go to commercially buy arcade game boards is mind-blowing. I mean, there's eBay and different, like, you know, we have sources, obviously, but, I mean, you could go to, like, I guess this was kind of like a flea market of sorts, or he had, like, a little shop. How were you finding some of these boards?
Mr. Bob introduced us to one place. In Akihabara, there are. I found 3 places in Akihabara that sell arcade game boards to the public, and then I got recognized oddly for my old Tekken career a few times, and one of those people who recognized me had a contact with another place that sells arcade game boards. It does not open to the public. Nice. So just arcade boards everywhere to buy, PCBs everywhere.
Well, and I mean, it's always good to bolster the collection at Free Play, and that was actually kind of interesting because though the prices were similar, some of these games are getting really hard to find. So that was really nice. You've got a single city that had 20,000 Street Fighter 3 Third Strike boards, and we got like 10,000 total in America.
Right.
So yeah, it would be so easy, but that's why they still have all the arcades that they have. So you and Sean got to enter some local tournaments while you're in Tokyo. We heard Sean won a team
tournament at GameSpot Versus. So
that was on Saturday night,
right?
And then you later won a tournament, if I remember.
Yes, I went to Game Daytona Shiki for their singles tournament, their monthly tournament, and went undefeated and won. And no one more shocked than me. I was stunned. I knew by the second round, like, I was the class of the competition. I was like, oh, this is happening. I cannot believe this, but
I mean, that's got to feel great, though, right? You go to Japan.
I'm taking it to my grave. Yes, that feels incredible. I don't know how many Americans can say that they've won a singles tournament in Japan. Especially I don't care what the level is.
I mean, of course, as we were talking in this previous podcast, Billy Mitchell has set the world record on Super Turbo. He submitted a video.
Congrats.
No, he has beaten every Japanese player.
Yeah, I did not set a high score out there.
No,
if you would like to have a singles match, we can arrange it.
I would love to see that.
Well, and you were playing till 4 or 5 a.m. routinely.
Yeah,
and you had players to play with.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we could, they would stay until the arcade closed. Period.
And no matter what time that was.
No matter what. And one time it closed at 5 a.m, and we were there till 5 a.m. And a couple of players did pass out.
Nice.
But they were replaced with other players, and throughout this entire time,
the ranks were replaced as they fell.
And throughout this entire time, Matsun paid 150 yen and played all night long.
He was just like, "This is nice."
Yeah, and I played Sea Viper and just got obliterated. I could not touch him.
So
unbelievable.
Obviously, Japan has awesome.
He was
arcades.
not in the tournament I won. Not surprisingly.
You got to meet some new Japanese players. You got to meet the players that are flying out.
We're talking about Super Turbo. So we mentioned before that Osa got kind of faux pas playing the O characters.
Yeah. Potentially OP.
Akuma, Goki in Japan, not banned.
Really?
because no one plays it.
Right. The thing is, and I saw a Goki player out there.
Really?
Yeah, I did. He was terrible.
Did he?
And that's the thing.
Right.
If you're a terrible player, go ahead and pick him. We will murder you for him. By the way, I murdered him for it.
That's
So he
interesting.
picked Goki and got obliterated. So, but if you want to play it on a lark, even in a tournament, you can do it.
They're not going to stop you.
They're going to
They'll
stop
think less
you.
of you, yeah.
They're going to stop you with a series of uppercuts to the face.
That's really interesting.
But anybody who's good does not touch him. Doesn't have to be banned.
Here in America, of course, he is banned.
Yeah.
He is banned on our tournament.
He's banned, and you're not going to see him used by any player worth.
And I guess
a
that's
damn.
the thing. Yeah, I guess
Even an American player would be embarrassed to go to Japan and play Goki, even though he's technically not banned.
that's my new plan. Actually, I'm just gonna master it. Go to
Not
Japan.
banned, go for it.
I'm gonna start racking up
just gonna
tournament
go-
wins. Everyone will talk about how I have no honor, and I'll just be like on Japanese magazine covers, like, flipping off the entire nation of Japan.
I'm just gonna go
Revolutionary
shamelessly.
Goki player, Corey Hayden.
I'll take over the entire.
I'll just shamelessly stick to my Honda play. That's very poor.
I don't know if Honda gets too much action in Japan.
I saw a Honda player out there.
He's all
Yeah,
he's
one
all
guy.
one.
All right.
He's like, I played 30.
I'm gonna go make that too.
All right, so talk to us about anything else you did interesting in Japan. Did you eat interesting foods, drink interesting drinks?
I mean, I did the things you would want to do as far as eating in Japan. I went to a sushi place.
Ate fish.
Yeah, I had sushi, which was I had a stack of sushi that was this tall and paid $6 for it, and it was fantastic. So
Nice.
definitely recommend the sushi. And then I went to a ramen restaurant that I believe had Sean said Michelin stars or something like
Really?
that.
Nice.
I don't know what that means, but Sean
mean,
did, and he
that's-
said it was very good. And that Dallas doesn't have one restaurant that qualifies for a Michelin star at all.
Not to get too sidetracked, but that's actually really controversial that Dallas doesn't have that, and there's a lot of debate as to the pretentious. Japan has had numerous Michelin star restaurants, and there are ramen places in Japan that have Michelin stars. There are none in Dallas, though. I would argue there are definitely plenty of restaurants that are of that quality in Dallas.
Oh, cool.
Just those guys are snobs and jerks.
It
and
sounds like a snob
Texas
list.
gets screwed over in everything. No, it's there's a lot of good food in Japan, and yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing. Like here in America, sushi's like a delicacy. In Japan, they just call it food, or you
Right.
know, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
they're
it's
like that's
everywhere.
that's fish, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not expensive. I mean,
No, and ordering was
Tokyo's obviously closer to the ocean than.
I mean, they put
Dallas.
everything on a conveyor, but we actually have this style of sushi restaurant
Yeah.
in the city as well. But they put everything on a conveyor belt. The sushi chefs are right behind you, and you just grab it as you go. The colored plate determines how much it costs. Either way, it's not going to cost you a whole lot because I had a stack this high and it was $6. I went to one of those fancy ramen restaurants. Also not expensive.
Right.
Cost about $9 for an entree there. And the size you got did not affect the price at all. If you
Right.
wanted the large, it costs the same as the normal whatever. It's just how much you want to eat. And
Well, clearly, they're just like, if you want to be a jerk, be a jerk.
yeah.
We'll judge you,
Yeah.
and not not publicly judge you.
So this ramen, the meat on this ramen was literally the richest thing I have ever had in my life.
Nice, yeah.
I can only compare it to the richest piece of chocolate you have ever had. The kind that you eat, like you take a bite of, and you're instantly like, oh, I'm gonna have to take a break before I take another bite of it. That was how rich the meat was in this ramen. So whatever a Michelin star is, it earned it because holy cow!
He's like, I don't even know if it was food. He was eating like the wrapper on his ramen. He was like, it was too rich. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was something.
He was delirious because he hadn't actually slept in 16 days
At
at that
least.
point.
Yeah, I still haven't slept.
He didn't even go to Tokyo. This is
That was my plan.
This is all hallucination.
That was my plan for dealing with jet lag. Is just don't sleep at all.
All right, so I mean, it sounds like you have some awesome. I mean, besides making awesome contacts that are going to come to our spring series tournament, which is going to be insane. It sounds like you got to really experience the Japanese arcade scene for a little bit,
I did.
which is insane.
is
It's
insane.
just crazy to think about going from place to place within a block of each other, and you're just like, here's a good arcade, here's a good arcade. We obviously live in a different world. here in Texas, but that's awesome.
I don't have any problem matching up free play arcade with any arcade that I went into in the world, including Japan.
Well,
Japan has a different style of arcade. They certainly have different like stories of arcades.
Right. Their buildings also have.
But there are 120 cabinets behind us that I did not see in Japan.
Right.
Nice.
And they would like to play, but they can't play because space is so tight there that you have to perform at a rate that, like, something like Gravatar over there, which we've done a game of the week on before, absolutely, even if it was a Japanese cabinet, it would not sit there because, not enough people will play it for it to justify its position there. It has to make a ton of money.
Well, yeah, we've talked about that.
Just to sit there.
The benefit of operating free play, where we operate it, how we operate it.
They would love to see an arcade like this there. They just can't do it.
So this is just kind of out of left field, but did you send me a photo of a Stern pinball while you were in Japan, or I feel like I've seen recently.
No, there was no pinballs in Japan.
That was what I was going to ask.
Pin.
Did you see any pinball?
Not one pin did I see in Japan. I didn't see a pachinko machine, although they did have, like, I didn't go into any of the gambling houses. They certainly had it. They had slot machines.
Yeah, you could have found some if you really wanted to.
Yeah, there were slot machines, but no pins. None at all. No classic American games that I saw at all either. I did see a lot of retro games. All of them were Japanese developers.
Right. I don't guess there were too many Atari games out there.
No.
So you fly back, Air Canada. How'd that go?
The 17-hour trip back, it was rough. Sean left a day earlier.
Right, you're by yourself.
So I'm by myself, and they kept waking me up. And they kept waking me up to, would you like water? And, no, I brought my own water because I have a jug, and it's sitting in my lap. I have a blindfold on. I have my Sean snore-canceling headphones on. I'm trying to sleep because I'm trying to get myself to Dallas.
Right.
I don't want jet lag, so I'm trying to acclimate myself to Dallas. Instead, they're continually waking me up on Tokyo time. And that was a fun trip.
Actually, one thing we did miss, going back a little bit, did you and Sean get separated at all while you were in Tokyo?
We did.
Is there any good story behind this?
About what?
About getting separated, how you got back together, how you found your way?
How I found my way. Well, okay, so we got separated. I think we got separated twice, but one time I remember is we were going to Game Daytona or Shiki, I believe. But regardless, I went to the train station and could not figure out that Google Maps is incredibly helpful and overpowered in Tokyo, as it is anywhere. Map something, hit the public transit, you're gonna get there whatever city you're in.
Nice.
Except for this one. And so I did that, and it said, get on platform 3. So I find platform 3, and I'm standing there, and I'm not sure if I'm going to take the right, like, level of train. I don't know. I'm very confused, and there's only 3 people around me, and they're all, like, 12-year-old Japanese schoolgirls. And I show them the little picture, and they're like, "Oh, American traveler, yeah!"
Like any normal Japanese scene, there were random schoolgirls who laughed at you.
Yes, they absolutely laughed at me. And then they let me know that no, the next train was not my train. It was going to be 2 more trains. So I got the Rapid Express train. And that got me to the arcade a good hour ahead of Sean, who did not ask the Japanese schoolgirls about which train he should go on and got on the wrong train. Well, I mean, it got there eventually, but, 14 stops later, he arrived as well. And, that's how I
so there you go. If
won
anyone
a
wants
singles
to,
tournament that didn't involve Sean Green at all.
Sean Green didn't get to enter that tournament.
if anyone wants to animate this adventure of Chris and Sean and Japanese schoolgirls,
Yeah, I can send you the pictures to reference.
there you go.
That just sounds so bad. Why do we have photos of Japanese schoolgirls, Chris?
They legitimately helped me on
It was
that.
like, you guys saved me.
I feel like that's even worse. You're like, they insisted. I don't know. All right, so Air Canada screwed you over repeatedly. They're the worst airline in the world. Worse than Spirit, which, I mean...
I definitely had more Air
opinions on
Canada,
Spirit.
more Air
Varying
Canada disasters.
So...
They got me back safely that time.
Shortly thereafter, speaking of Air Canada,
Uh-huh.
you had the last qualifier, which we're going to kind of speed through. It is
Back
now
to
almost
Canada.
5 a.m.
We went to Toronto.
So you went to Toronto for our final North American satellites into the Spring Series Super Turbo tournament here at Arlington.
Yes. That was Air Canada as well. Flew out there on a Saturday.
How was the flight?
The flight was fine.
All right,
Got there.
we're up to fine.
Yes.
For Air Canada.
Yeah, every time I got on the flight, with the exception of coming back from Japan where they kept waking me up, it was a fine experience. The attendants were just awesome, just peachy.
All right, so where was the tournament?
That was at Meltdown Esports Arena, which is somewhere in the downtownish area of Toronto.
Which, if you don't know already, that's kind of like a European gaming bar chain.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly franchises that, and I don't know if there are any in the United States or not, but it's they'll generally have a bunch of screens showing esports. They'll have a bunch of console style setups,
Correct.
And then they'll have a bar that serves alcohol.
Right, and no arcade games.
That's their model. Yeah, no, they might throw an arcade game occasionally, but nothing good.
This particular one certainly did not have an arcade game. Right.
So,
in fact, they didn't. There was no arcade Super Turbo to play in Toronto.
in a city that has millions of people, there's no Super Turbo on an arcade.
As of right now, as far as I know, there is no actual arcade Super Turbo to be played in Toronto, which is interesting because the other major Super Turbo tournament that isn't free play is Canada Cup in Toronto, which is why we had the qualifier there in the first place.
Right.
Oh, nice.
But they had the whole thing set up on Super Guns. And thank you to David, the runner of Canada Cup, for providing those Super Guns and getting us the venue.
It's interesting to think, right, though? I mean, we're sitting in a massive, almost 9,000 square foot building dedicated to retro arcade games where we have awesome, original, well, now a candy cab playing Super Turbo. And you're going to these cities. You played, I mean, we had one big qualifier in a garage.
Yeah.
Then another big qualifier in a iFix Machines small room. I mean, we love the fact that these guys gave us a space, let us run qualifiers there, and ran these qualifiers for us and connected us with these players.
They all have, their own, vibrant community that keeps these places alive, or just fabricates the places out of nothing in the case of Toronto.
Well, and I guess that's, I don't mean to toot our own horn, but wow, we're lucky.
We are lucky, and
to have what we have.
Yeah, that they would absolutely kill for an establishment like this.
So, Super Guns in an esports bar in Toronto. Who were the top three?
Top three. Chirithi, who is a pro Street Fighter V player out there, qualified with his Chun-Li from Montreal. He made the drive out. He also made the drive out with Thello, a Honda player, who got second.
Nice.
Yes, a Honda. And he also drove out with Lord Jimmy Bones, a boxer player, also from Montreal. So Montreal completely swept the Canada qualifier. They all drove together and got 1, 2, 3, and then won the team tournament we had afterwards. I mean, not surprisingly, when you finish 1, 2, and 3, you win the team tournament also.
So, I've heard of Meltdown before. How was the environment, the service?
There was one guy running the bar.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of
I had a burger that was
small
meat patties on top of meat patties. It was
Nice.
very weird. It's like a meat pie on top, meat pie on bottom, and then a patty in the middle.
How did it taste?
I tried not to taste it.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so I mean, thank you, Meltdown, for hosting the event.
They were showing the Dallas Fuel, the Overwatch League game.
Really?
Well,
That's
I
interesting.
guarantee you, that basic.
We got drilled.
The Overwatch League made their year because they finally had some
Content, yes.
some fresh high production value content. Yeah. Okay, so you're in Toronto. probably pretty cold. It was early February.
For the rest of the day that I was supposed to be in Toronto, I took the Scott Pilgrim tour. I'm a big fan of the book series and the movie, so I went and visited as many of the locations as I could walk to, because that's how I traveled in Toronto. Is I Ubered to the location and then I walked everywhere.
How was your hotel?
Hotel was, I don't remember.
Adequate.
Adequate.
You had one.
I had one. I slept in a bed. And then you know, I uneventfully went to the airport after the Scott Pilgrim tour and just flew out with Air Canada until they canceled my flight, and then I spent an extra 2 nights in Toronto.
So yeah, Sunday night. Well, okay, Sunday during the day, or maybe it was Saturday
Super Bowl
night.
Sunday, by the way.
You went to the, and I know some of the people involved with this barcade. You went to their. The Canadian.
I went to Tilt.
And they actually get to use the name Tilt, which I will always say is maybe the best arcade name of all, especially if you have pinball. It's just, I mean, it's trademarked in the United States, will never be usable again, but not in Canada. So there is a Tilt barcade, retro arcade thing. It's a free play model.
Yeah.
How did that go? I mean, you don't have to be mean, but as we know, it's hard.
They have significantly less. I mean, they're running our model. It's $5 instead of $10. They have significantly less machines. They have significantly less craft beers. Like, I know the locals are proud of that place. I want to see the home of Scott Pilgrim have better.
Well, hopefully, maybe
they had. I saw MAME. I saw LCD screens. I saw 601s. I saw many pinballs in disrepair. I saw many in repair. I mean, I saw them trying.
Well, right. It's better than nothing. It's just
better than nothing. Trying hard. You know, better than there are no arcades everywhere else.
Right.
But goodness, I want Scott Pilgrim to have better.
Well, to come from a free play is always tough.
Yeah. It's tough. I'm sitting in the best arcade in the world, and so it's tough to measure up to that, especially when you're running the same model. I mean, I talked about Button Mash. Do I want to leave Free Play Arcade to go to Button Mash? No, I do not. I recognize the quality of.
Well, it sounds like though, Button Mash in terms of American retro arcades, the places you stopped, that was it was there. It was acceptable. It was good.
It was totally different than Free Play. It did not remind me of Free Play at all. Other than we have some similar games, right? Tilt absolutely reminds me of Free Play, except Free Play crushes it in every conceivable way.
Yeah, and obviously we are, an hour of 22 of our workday, so it's
their poutine was better than the Vancouver airport. So I did have the poutine there. Important. Poutine there at Tilt better than
the airports. All right, so you go to the airport. Eric Canada says, "Hope you're having a great life. We're gonna take 2 of those days from you."
Yep.
And move
but
you back
unfortunately,
2
they
days.
provided me with a hotel. No, they did not provide me with any hotel.
Another thing we learned about Air Canada: every airline in America that's a major airline, if they cancel your flight for basically any reason, will provide you with some sort of voucher to get a hotel room. The same
Even
goes
Spirit.
in Canada, unless if it's Air Canada. Air Canada is the only major airline that I'm aware of, and there's probably more, but that does not even remotely consider providing you with any hotel accommodations if they cancel your flight. And they canceled Chris's flight for 2 days.
Yeah.
They just said, you're screwed. And so on Sunday night, Super Bowl Sunday, while the Super Bowl was about to start, I started getting text messages from Chris and from Julie to try to figure out what the heck to do. Because Chris was just like, my flight's canceled. I was like, that's hilarious. Good joke. And then he was like, no. It's real.
Yeah. Not only is it canceled, they've rescheduled it for Tuesday.
Right.
And it's Sunday.
So we found him a very nice-ish, airport-ish, hotel-ish, and he got to stay there until he left.
The hotel room was nice. It was a Hilton. It was on the airport, so I could not go back out and walk through Toronto again. I'm just sort of stranded.
Well, what's great is that was
a rough 2 days.
There were not a lot of hotel rooms left because Air Canada's out there canceling random flights just to be jerks.
And somehow in day 2 of that, I caught SARS, and I still am struggling.
Chris gets sick. He comes back a
Broken shell of a man.
Comes all the way to Arlington from the airport.
Thank you, Air
A
Canada.
shell of the man he used to be. So that is the walkthrough, though, of your recent travels.
Ah, had a good time.
International, all over the place. LA, New York City, Tokyo, and Toronto. Just to go find Street Fighter players. To think about it like that is insane. There's no one else in the world is doing that right now.
Nope.
We really appreciate you going. I think we have a lineup that
I appreciate the opportunity as well.
will never potentially be rivaled. I think it could be the biggest and best Super Turbo player lineup, certainly in a long, long time.
Yeah, and it's the highest dollar tournament for Super Turbo ever.
It's the highest dollar tournament.
Everybody
for
who's
Super Turbo
anybody's going to come out
ever.
here for this.
And anyone who doesn't clearly is just saying that they're not.
They can't hang.
They're not good enough to get a money position.
That's
and
obviously
they have
the
no interest in
wrong
competing.
perspective to take, because again, this is a once in a lifetime group of players who may very well never be in the same place at the same time.
Right, it's an open tournament. You can sign up and come and play against the best players in the world.
A growing, limited amount of tickets. We have our tickets are going fast. But you can go to freeplayinc.com/events right now is where we are hosting /sales. Actually, there'll be a link somewhere associated with that.
Yes.
On the YouTube channel to grab tickets, but it will be the best player lineup of all time for Super Turbo, at least in this decade.
Yeah.
And it'll be the richest tournament. It'll be one of the biggest tournaments. It'll be on cabinets that virtually don't exist in the United States that we've sourced. Very difficult to find, and I think it will be the tournament which all Super Turbo judge tournaments from now on will be judged against.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. We are very tired. We're going to be signing off, desperately running home so that we can get up tomorrow morning and do the same thing again.
Cool.
So thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Free Play 5 a.m. podcast. Have a good day.